Hamilton's Ferrari win is not officially under investigation, but it just became impossible to ignore. Russell started on pole. Hamilton started second. Mercedes looked in control. Then Ferrari made the strategy call. Hamilton protected the tires, Russell faded, Antonelli retired late, and suddenly Ferrari's most emotional win in years became the center of a paddock storm. No confirmed post-race protest. No penalty. No official ruling against Ferrari. But here is the problem. Ferrari arrived in Barcelona with their biggest upgrade package of a season, a redesigned front wing, new bodywork, floor changes, and a car the governing body had already been watching since January. Then Hamilton won. And in Formula One, when a Ferrari looks this fast, rivals do not just ask how it happened. They ask if it should be allowed to happen again. Subscribe to the channel. Barcelona did not turn Hamilton's Ferrari win into a controversy because the result looked fake. It turned into a controversy because the result looked too real. That is the uncomfortable part for Mercedes. If Ferrari had won through chaos, rivals could have dismissed it. If Hamilton had inherited the race after everyone else collapsed, the paddock could have called it emotional, dramatic, and maybe not repeatable. If the victory had come from one lucky moment, Mercedes could have walked away believing the championship picture had not really changed. But that is not what happened. Hamilton won with a pattern: strategy, tire management, upgrades, timing, pressure, execution. Those are not random ingredients. Those are championship ingredients. And that is why Barcelona became dangerous the moment Hamilton crossed the line. Because a one-off win can be celebrated and forgotten. A race won through repeatable strengths becomes something rivals have to stop, understand, or copy. And if they cannot copy it quickly, they start asking questions. That is how Formula One works. The controversy did not begin with an official ruling. It did not begin with a confirmed post-race protest. It did not begin with a penalty or a statement that Ferrari had done something illegal. It began with Mercedes losing control of the story. Russell started on pole. Mercedes had the cleanest possible opening position. They had track position. They had the chance to dictate the race. They had a car strong enough to fight. And for the early part of the Grand Prix, the race looked like it could belong to them. Hamilton was second, close enough to matter, patient enough to wait. That combination is dangerous, because Hamilton did not need to win the race in the first few laps. He only needed to stay inside the window where Ferrari could use him later. He only needed to protect the tires enough that when the pit wall saw the opportunity, he still had the performance to turn strategy into attack. That is exactly what he did. And that is where the controversy starts to breathe. Because when Hamilton made the Ferrari strategy work, the question became bigger than driver skill. Mercedes had to ask whether they were beaten by a better call, a better tire window, a better upgrade package, or a Ferrari concept that had suddenly become too powerful to ignore. Maybe the answer is all of them. That is what makes this so threatening. Ferrari's victory was not isolated from the technical war around the car. The Ferrari 26 had been watched since the start of the year because of its aggressive aerodynamic direction. At the Barcelona shakedown, the governing body had already taken a close look at the car's concept before allowing Ferrari to continue. Rival teams had already been studying Ferrari's blown exhaust idea. Mercedes had already been involved in its own front wing and power unit controversies. The season was already political before Hamilton ever stood on the top step in Spain. Barcelona did not create the storm. It gave the storm a winner. And once Ferrari had a winner, everything changed. The upgrade package made it worse for rivals. Ferrari did not arrive in Spain with the same car and suddenly stumble into victory. They arrived with their biggest development push of the season. A redesigned front wing, new bodywork, floor changes, a car that looked more complete through the corners, a car that seemed to give Hamilton the one thing he had been missing for too long: confidence. That word matters more than any headline. Hamilton with confidence is not just faster. He becomes cleaner. He becomes calmer. He becomes harder to pressure. He can save tires without falling away. He can wait for the race to open. He can make strategy look perfect because he has prepared the car for the moment the tires matter most. Mercedes know this better than anyone. They built an era around that version of Hamilton, and now they watch Ferrari unlock it. That is why Russell's defeat from pole felt heavier than a normal second place. On paper, second is strong. It scores well. It keeps a driver in the championship conversation. But emotionally, this second place hurt because it came behind Hamilton in a Ferrari in a race where Mercedes had started with control. Russell did not simply finish behind a rival. He finished behind the past of Mercedes, reborn in red. That is the kind of result that makes a team look inward. Could Mercedes have covered Ferrari earlier? Did they read the degradation correctly? Did they underestimate Hamilton's long-run pace? Did Ferrari's upgraded car protect its tires better than expected? Was the front wing package giving Ferrari a more stable platform? Did the floor update improve the tire window? Was the blown exhaust concept helping the car maintain downforce without paying the same price in tire wear? These are not casual questions. These are the questions that turn a race result into a controversy. Because every answer points somewhere uncomfortable. If Mercedes misread the strategy, they were out-executed. If Ferrari's upgrades worked better, Mercedes were out-developed. If Hamilton managed the tires better, Russell was out-driven in the critical phase. And if Ferrari's technical concept created an advantage rivals cannot match, then the fight moves toward the governing body. That is why no confirmed formal investigation is not the same as no pressure. Pressure in Formula One is often invisible at first. It happens through conversations, technical submissions, quiet requests for clarification, engineers comparing footage, and teams pushing the governing body to define gray areas before a rival turns them into wins. The public waits for a headline. The paddock works before the headline exists. Ferrari understand that world. They had already accused rivals of political influence over rule changes earlier in the season. Frederic Vasseur had made it clear that Ferrari felt targeted by certain regulatory decisions. At the same time, Ferrari had also challenged Mercedes over front-wing questions and raised concerns that helped bring attention to other technical tricks. So this is not a clean story, with one innocent side and one suspicious side. This is Formula One politics at full force. Everyone is watching everyone. Everyone is protecting their own advantage. Everyone believes their innovation is legal, and their rival's innovation is questionable. That is why Barcelona is so explosive. Ferrari can say Hamilton won fairly, and they have the result to support it. Mercedes can say Ferrari's sudden performance deserves deeper scrutiny, and they have the season's technical context to support it. The governing body can say no confirmed post-race case has been announced, while still keeping Ferrari's concepts under a microscope. All three positions can exist at the same time, and that is what makes the audience feel the tension, because the win is real, but the questions are real too. Hamilton's strategy was the public reason Ferrari won. Tire management was the sporting reason. The upgrade package was the technical reason. The months of regulatory friction were the political reason the win became controversial so quickly. Barcelona connected them all, and Antonelli's late retirement added even more pressure. The Mercedes championship leader had been in a strong position before his race ended. That failure gave Hamilton a massive point swing and made Mercedes' day feel almost cruel. They lost the win to Hamilton. They lost Antonelli's points to reliability. They watched Ferrari take momentum. And they left Spain knowing the debate around Ferrari's car would only get louder. That is a brutal combination. A team can handle one wound. Mercedes left Barcelona with several. Strategy wound. Reliability wound. Championship wound. Political wound. Emotional wound. That is why this race will not simply disappear into the calendar. It gave Ferrari proof. It gave Hamilton belief. It gave Mercedes questions. It gave rivals a reason to study the red car harder. And it gave the governing body a car that had already been watched, now carrying race-winning evidence. That is the difference between scrutiny and controversy. Scrutiny is when people quietly look. Controversy is when the result makes everyone care. Hamilton made everyone care, because his win was not only about Ferrari being fast. It was about Ferrari becoming fast at exactly the moment Mercedes could least afford it. The championship was already tense. Antonelli was leading. Russell was close. Ferrari needed a breakthrough. Hamilton needed his first victory in red. The car needed validation. The upgrades needed proof. Barcelona gave Ferrari all of it at once. That is why Mercedes cannot simply shrug and move on. If they do, Ferrari may arrive at the next race with even more confidence. Hamilton may drive with even more belief. Vasseur may defend the concept even harder. The factory may push development with fresh energy. And the rest of the grid may begin treating Ferrari as a true championship force again. Mercedes have to respond. That response might not look dramatic from the outside. It may not arrive as a public protest. It may come through technical clarification requests. It may come through more attention on Ferrari's front-wing behavior. It may come through renewed pressure around the blown exhaust concept. It may come through development urgency at Brackley. It may come through sharper internal strategy reviews after Russell lost a race from pole. But there will be a response, because winning changes the rules of attention. A midfield Ferrari with aggressive ideas can survive in the background. A winning Ferrari with Hamilton becomes the center of the sport, and that is where Ferrari now stand, at the center. Not only because they won, but because of how they won. They used strategy intelligently. They managed tires effectively. They brought upgrades that appeared to work. They gave Hamilton a car he trusted. They beat Mercedes on a day when Mercedes needed to look strong. That is too much evidence for rivals to ignore, and is too much momentum for Ferrari to waste. The real question after Barcelona is not whether Hamilton's win is gone. It is not. The real question is whether the win survives the next phase of pressure. Can Ferrari keep their performance once everyone is watching? Can their upgrades keep delivering? Can the blown exhaust controversy stay in the future, or will rivals force the issue sooner? Can Mercedes prove Barcelona was a strategic mistake, or do they now need to admit Ferrari have found a dangerous development path? Can the governing body keep control of the technical debate before it becomes a championship-defining argument? That is why the story feels bigger than a normal Grand Prix. Because Hamilton's victory did not close a chapter. It opened several. The comeback story, the Ferrari strategy story, the Mercedes defeat story, the Antonelli reliability story, the technical scrutiny story, the political war story. And they all point toward the same question. Was Barcelona the day Ferrari finally got everything right, or the day their rivals decided they had become too dangerous to leave alone? That is the tension heading into the next part of the season. Ferrari now have what every team wants and fears at the same time. A winning car, a legendary driver with confidence, a technical concept rivals are already watching, and a victory so powerful that even without a confirmed investigation, it feels like the entire paddock has started investigating them anyway.